For the entire month of January, I decided I wouldn't eat any meat. As someone who had eaten meat for my entire life, pretty much every day, I thought it would be an interesting experiment to see what going meat-free was like and whether it would improve any aspects of my health and well-being. In this video, I'll share the experience with you and whether it's something I'm going to continue doing. So I'm not really sure exactly what brought the idea on. Perhaps it was seeing successful athletes not eat meat. But late in December, Stacey and I agreed that we wouldn't eat any meat in January. I was committed from the go, but Stacey took a bit of convincing, for lack of a better word. She had been a full-blown vegetarian in the past for several years, and so didn't really see the point of not eating meat for a month. After talking about it and reminding her that we would have to cook 2 different meals at tea time, she was on board. We didn't go meat-free for ethical or health reasons or anything like that, but simply to try something new that I hadn't done before and to explore some new food options. I actually found it really easy to give up eating meat, and there wasn't a single time in January where I felt like I really fancy eating some meat right now. The amount of meat-free options and alternatives is way larger than I thought. It's almost like there is a meat-free option for everything these days, even in the regular supermarkets. I probably didn't pay much attention in the past being a meat eater, but I definitely think the range has expanded a lot in recent years, as being meat-free has massively increased in popularity. Now, despite there being an alternative for most things, be it meat-free burgers, fish-free scampi, or no chicken roast dinner joints, we agreed at the beginning that we didn't want to take the easy way out and just use one of these alternatives for every meal. Instead, we wanted to try things like tofu that wasn't just a substitute. In hindsight, we did probably end up eating more meat-free alternatives than we would have liked, but we still didn't actually eat any meat during January and were so ultimately happy with how we did. We probably could have made a bit more effort to eat the original meals, but there was a lot of days in January and we wanted a nice variety of things to try when it came to our evening meal. So a few examples of what I ate during January compared to what I would have eaten previously. When it comes to breakfast, I tend not to eat any, not at the traditional time anyway, and I have something like a cereal bar or some fruit in the mid-morning instead. So there really wasn't any changes when it came to eating in the morning. Lunch did change quite dramatically. Normally I'd have had a bagel with some of that cheapy plastic ham, a bit of cheese and some lettuce and mayo when in the office or at home, so of course that had to change. If I was going into the office, I'd typically make up a large salad bowl with the usual stuff like lettuce, tomato and cucumber, but also with potato salad, some pasta, couscous, boiled eggs or coleslaw. If I was at home, I might have had the salad if I had any left over. Otherwise, it would have typically been scrambled eggs on 2 slices of toast. This is one of those meals where I'm glad to have changed it up and will continue eating going forward. Not only is the salad really filling, but I get so much more variety across all the different food groups. That cheap plastic ham probably wasn't the best thing for me anyway, and so I don't think I'll ever go back to eating that. When it came to the evening meal, we did try to make an effort to get a good variety of different foods in. Some of our favourites were tofu curry, corn spag bowl, no chicken burgers from Aldi, halloumi fajitas and a vegan carvery. For a lot of the meals we actually preferred the meat-free versions to the originals that we were having before, like the no chicken burgers. They genuinely tasted like chicken, just with a lot more flavour in our experience. Other things we weren't quite as keen on, like vegetable lasagna. I'm not sure what it was, perhaps it was the aubergine in it, but I definitely preferred the meat version to that. So am I going full-blown vegetarian? No. I have started to eat meat again, but will absolutely make an effort to eat less of it and not eat any meat at least a few days during the week. Have I seen any benefits from being meat-free? I'm not sure. Haven't really noticed any health improvements or dramatic weight loss or anything like that, but perhaps this is down to only doing it for a month. Maybe I would see some benefits if I were to do it for longer, who knows. One thing I did notice, which I was quite surprised at, is that the cost of the weekly food shop was very comparable to before, if not even a little bit cheaper. I assumed that the meat-free alternatives would be dramatically more expensive, but we found that to definitely not be the case. Again, perhaps because of the rise in popularity of not eating meat and to make it more accessible. If we were to go out for a meal or something like that, or a carvery, I can almost guarantee that we would pick something meat-based, but at home we'll definitely continue eating some of the vegetarian meals we had in January because we generally found them to be really tasty. Meals like the tofu curry and the no chicken burgers were lovely, and we are glad that going meat-free allowed us to find and try these new foods. So that's it, my experience of going meat-free for an entire month. Hope you found it helpful and useful in some way. If you did, please drop it a like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. If you click on the video on screen, you can watch me run one of the UK's hardest park runs with Harry Morgan from Jog On. Definitely a fun one which is worth a watch. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.